Okay, here's the Unit 9 test corrections. If you have any questions after you're finished completing this, make sure you come see me before or after school. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, so be sure to use the pause button or rewind if needed. Alright, for the first one we have to find the measure of angle BAD. Okay, angle BAD, that's right here. Okay, and we know that rectangle, it's a rectangle ABCD, so we know that angle BAD is 90 degrees because all angles are 90 in a rectangle. Okay. Number 2, find AB. Well, AB is right here, this side. Okay. And we have a 2 on the opposite side. We know that opposite sides of a rectangle are congruent. Alright, so we know that AB equals 2. Number 3, BD. Show your work or explain how you know. Alright, BD is right here. Okay, what we could do is we know AC is 8. AC is right here. Okay, and we know that the diagonals in a rectangle are congruent. So if AC is 8, then BD is also 8. Alright, now on to numbers 4, 5, and 6. Okay, we have a rhombus, EFGH. Okay, and we have to find the measure of angle F. Well, angle F is right here. Okay, and we know opposite angles in a rhombus are congruent. And you guys can write this out better than I can. You don't have to abbreviate. Alright, so if we know opposite angles are congruent, then the measure of angle F is 125, because the measure of angle H is 125. Okay. Find the measure of angle G. G is right here. Okay, and in a rhombus, we know that consecutive angles are supplementary, which means they add up to equal 180. So we do 180, the measure of angle G equals 180 minus measure of angle H, and you get 55 degrees. Alright, number 6, find EF. EF is right here, and we know it's a rhombus, and we know that all sides are congruent in a rhombus, so EF equals 6. Alright, numbers 7 through 10, we have a parallelogram, EFGH. Okay, we have to find EH, side EH. Well, side EH, okay, in a parallelogram we know opposite sides are congruent. Alright, so if you look across from side EH, we notice that FG is 28, so EH is also 28. Find EF. EF is right here. Okay, again, opposite sides are congruent in a parallelogram, so we know that. Across from EF is GH. GH is 12, so EF is also 12. DE. DE is right here. Okay, and we know that it's a part of the diagonal. We know that diagonals are bisected. So if the other half of the diagonal is 19, then DE is also 19. Number 10, find FH. FH is this whole diagonal here. Okay, and we know that half of it is 11.5 because diagonals bisect each other. Alright, and if that's the case, half of it's 11.5, so the whole thing is 23. 11.5 times 2. Alright, number 11, 12, and 13. We notice that ABCD is a rectangle, okay, because it says in our problem, and BD equals 6. Find AC. Alright, AC is right here, BD is 6. Okay, we know that the diagonals are congruent in a rectangle. So, AC is also 6. If it's a square and AE equals 4, find BD. Well, we know that also in a square that the diagonals are congruent, but also they bisect each other. Okay, so if that's 4, this is 4, and the whole thing is 8, therefore BD is also 8. If, last one, if ABCD is a square, find the measure of BCD. Well, BCD is right here, and we know that all angles are 90 degrees in a square, so therefore the measure of angle BCD is 90 degrees. Okay, number 14 to 16, we have a parallelogram. Okay, and we just have to find the measure of angle A. Alright, measure of angle A is here. Okay, we know that this is 130, and we know that consecutive angles are supplementary. So A plus 130 equals 180. Therefore, the measure of angle A, if we subtract 130 from 180, is 50 degrees. Find the value of x. Well, we know 5x is right here, and we know opposite angles are congruent. So 5x is the same as 130 divided by 5 divided by 5. And we get x equals 26. And then the measure of angle C is congruent to the measure of angle A because they're opposite angles. So the measure of angle C is also 50 degrees. Okay, given the following coordinates, use any method to determine if a quadrilateral QRST is a parallelogram. Support your answer by showing your work or writing complete sentences. Now, there's 3 ways we could do this. We could find the slope between the two sides, the opposite sides, to see if they're parallel, because it's a parallelogram, we're trying to prove that. Or if we could do the distance formula to prove that the opposite sides are congruent. But the easiest way and the quickest way is probably determining if either the diagonals are congruent, alright, because you only need 2, and or if they share the same midpoint. Okay, so we have QRST, and just for the sake of, and I know I'm not going to draw this right, just for the sake of knowing which sides go with which, we're going to write it out or draw it out so I know it's QRST, and it has to go in order. Some people on the test put S over here and T over here, and that's not in order. It has to go around in order. Okay, Q could be over here if you want, as long as it's QRST. Okay? Let's erase that real quick. Alright, so we got QRST. Okay, my diagonals then are Alright, my diagonals then are QS and ST. Okay, so if I want to find the midpoint of QS, then I would take the X values and add them together and divide by 2. And the Y values of each point, add them together and divide by 2. And then I would do the same thing for ST. Okay, so my X values for QS is 3 and -1. And then my Y values is 5 and 1. So I get 2 over 2 and 6 over 2, which is 1, 3. Okay, and I'm sorry, it should be RT, not ST. Looking at this. Okay, so my X values are 3 and -1, and 1 and 5. And what do you know? You get 2 over 2, 6 over 2, and you get 1, 3. Alright, so we're going to say yes, this is a parallelogram. Because they share, because the diagonals have the same midpoint. For the second one, it's much similar. Again, QRST. So again, we're going to compare QS and RT, and you can again use the distance formula if you want, or midpoint. Okay, we'll use midpoint again. We're going to add the X values. QS, so 0 plus 5 divided by 2, and then the Y values, 5 plus 4 divided by 2, so we have 5 over 2 and 9 over 2. Alright, for RT we have 4, 1, and 7 plus 2, so we have 5 over 2 and 9 over 2. Same midpoint, so they, again, same thing. You should write this over here as well. Alright, second part, labeling the trapezoid. Okay, Q and S, angle Q and angle S really have no relationship. They are opposite angles. QR and PS, QR and PS, those are your bases. Okay, the top and the bottom are your bases. Angle R and angle Q, again, are your base angles because they're on one of the bases. Alright, PQ and SR. PQ, SR are called the legs. And then MN is the mid-segment or median. Number 6, find the measure of angle R. Alright, it's an isosceles trapezoid, so this equals this. The measure of angle R, therefore, base angles are congruent. So if Q is 63, then the measure of angle R is also 63. Okay, the measure of angle T. Alright, measure of angle T is consecutive or supplementary to R. Okay, therefore the measure of angle T plus the measure of angle R is 180, so 117. Alright, view the next video to complete this.